Hey you! Merry Christmas! Banter and Chill's Christmas special begins now. Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's another episode of Banter and Chill's 12 Days of Christmas special. I don't know why I feel the need to keep echoing that because it's a bit redundant. It's what you hear in the beginning, but I feel like I can never start an episode without like saying something at the beginning by myself first. Anyways, how did you enjoy yesterday's episode, the last episode? Now, one thing about recording these episodes in advance is that at the end of the day, I might end up scratching them, so I will not post them in the order that I originally planned to post them. So yeah, I just hope you enjoyed whatever I released yesterday. While we get into the topic of today, and today we're talking about trials and tribulations. Yes, trials and tribulations. So just stay with me. I'll get into it. Okay, so as I said, we're talking about trials and tribulations, and so we'll be discussing things that tested you this year and lessons learned from 2024. I feel like if I do a round table and I ask people to come and say the things that they use their eye to see this year and the things they went through this year and the things they've learned, I'm going to have like a bucket full of like lamentations. Basically, that's the word I can use, lamentation. And another thing is, I think up to like 3-4 years ago, I used to be one of those guys who when Christmas is looming and when Christmas is here and the new year is looming, I start indulging in like think pieces about what I learned this year and all that. I'll start writing down. There was a time in my life I used to even send out broadcast messages to my friends. Is it at Christmas or I think New Year? And those of you who lived through that and had to read my broadcast messages, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I would indulge in think pieces, and in hindsight, it's not a bad thing to do. People still do it now, and look, I feel like with this episode, that is definitely what I'm doing. I'm taking stock of my year. I feel like I said the word stock in this Christmas special more than 100 times. I'm taking stock of my year and pouring out the think pieces that I would have otherwise posted maybe on social media or something. But so it brings me to the point of this episode, really. And the point of this episode is, what are the lessons learned from 2024? Now, I did say trials and tribulations, but I think that people are born out of the things, their experiences, the things they go through. And when I say experiences, it could be places you see, people you meet, the things you do. All of them make up your experience as a person, your choices in life, your decisions, all of those things. Now, after you don't make the choice, after you don't meet the people, after you don't do everything, what did you learn from it? What did it do for you? How did it turn your life for the better or for the worst? And how did you come out of the other side? And that is what we're going to talk about today. But since this episode is mostly about me, no, these episodes are mostly, it's not about most of them. I'm the only one in this place recording. So just my voice should be hearing. So I'm going to be the one, I'm going to now tell you the things that I did learn from 2024 in hopes that you can pick a thing or two out of what I learned and, you know, be able to like look at your year and figure out the things that you think are valuable to pick out of your experiences and your life as a whole in 2024. Okay, first things first, 2024 drained me. 2024 was crazy. 2024 was a whirlwind. It was everything, anything, anywhere, all at once. At a point in my life this year, I tagged myself any baby do all because I had school, I had pageant, I had work, and I still had to make our time to dance leg walk and to twerk every once in a while because, you know, it's good to keep body and soul together in that manner. But yeah, 2024 was a lot, and I think it was more interesting and vigorous than bitter. It was interesting, it was nice, it was lovely. There were the bitter parts of it, the stressful parts of it, but like overall I loved how 2024 went. 2024 for me was like I'm starting to talk very fast again, so at this point I'm just going to calm down and pace myself. But yeah, 2024 for me was a test of like just how far somebody can go, how far I can go if I put my mind to it that I must do this thing. And if I put my mind there, 24 was what showed me how far I can go if I put my mind to doing something. I don't know if I'm making sense. Am I? But yeah. So as I was saying, I had a lot of things to do. So truly the first thing I learned in 2024 or with my experience in 2024 is that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And honestly, you can too. You can do all the things you set your mind to do. Will it almost take your life? Yes. But at the end of the day, you should know you've done it. And this is something I used to say that time in school. Because I used to have a reputation in secondary school that I used to fight a lot. I used to beat boys. I think that was a myth because the boys, they used to beat me back. But because I was the only one, I was always challenging boys in class. I had that reputation of always beating boys. But my own idea with like talking back or fighting people is that they might beat me, but you will know that if you start with Fortune will stay there to the finish line. Fortune will stay there to the finish line. So that is how I see, that's how 2024 looked like for me. Like, will it almost take my life? With everything I'm doing, want to finish me? Yes. But because I want to do all of it, I will do all of it and I'll come out of the other side. That's the first thing I learned in 2024. My Gripo spirit is strong. My head is strong and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The second thing I learned in 2024 is that you need a network of people behind you. And now these are things that I learned too, but I'm like telling it to you as per I'm advising you. So, but yeah, you need a strong network of people behind you. I was able to do all these things that I put my mind to this year because I had a great support system of friends and family who were willing to stand in the gap for me as I struggled to get through 2024, as I struggled to get through all these plenty things. People who were willing to show up in little and big ways, even if it was just by way of showing support or just calling to check in. I had so many people that I didn't even think like this kind of, there'll be this level of support, level of love as I was running around trying to cover all these areas in my life. So yeah, before you even think about, you're not a one-man mopo, let's start from there, you're not an island. Before you think about like doing 100 things at once or venturing into different things, check your support system. Make sure you have a great network of people who, like I say, stand in the gap for you, who will hold down the fort, who would be solidly behind you and make it at least a bit easier for you to go through whatever it is that you're going through. But another very key thing that I also must admit is that you will burn out in some areas. If you want to run around and do everything, something has to give. And right now, this is me being vulnerable because I know there's only my usual 5 listeners that are here and I love you guys for my life. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. But yeah, the part of it that I'm struggling to get back into right now is my relationship with God. So after the storm of this year died down, I realized that I've been struggling to find my rhythm, especially in my walk with Christ. But I learned this early on in life actually, to not be so hard on myself when it comes to my journey, my religious journey, because first, God is love, and therefore God is patient and God is kind, and He's always there. And to an extent, I like to think that He appreciates that you're still trying regardless. So don't be so hard on yourself. This is me charging anybody that struggled with the same thing this year. Don't be so hard on yourself, and don't feel like, oh, because you've journeyed away you cannot go back. No, you absolutely can. Try 100 times if you have to, but I think the goal is to never stop trying to like connect back with God. And yeah, that's it. Something. So for me, as I was saying, what is suffering, what has suffered, what suffered after the whole whirlwind of a year died down is my relationship with God. But it's something that, is a continuous journey. It's not something that has to be picture perfect every day, every time. And it's something I'm working with God to figure out. But that's it for me. So for you, what area of your life suffered this year? What part of your life? Some of you might want to say, oh, relationship. But you never get babe since 2020, not be today. So anyways, I'm so sorry for slandering all of you who have been struggling to put your love life in order. But I'm sorry. Anyways, the next thing I learned is something that I feel like I learn every year. Like everywhere I go to school on this particular topic. I said topic just now. You guys have to pardon me. I feel like I learn this lesson every year, but it is that you need to try for your friends. Friendships are a two-way street. So in little and in big ways, learn to communicate and be there for the people who are there for you as well. Really, with how rough this year was, I needed a lot of people around me, and I'm grateful that, like I said, people were there. People were there in little and in big ways. So you self try and be there for people. You might not be able to show up for everybody at every point in time, but still, I think friendships, like every other kind of relationship, is a continuous effort. So wake up every morning and try to put in effort. The day you cannot put in 100, try and still put in 20. Shall be putting in something. So show up for your friends, show up for your community of people who are around you and are trying to cheer you on and all of that. So that's the other thing I learned. And now, moving on, another thing I picked up is that it's okay to try plenty times. And this is more personal because I'm going to read out some things that I wrote down at the start of the year that I needed to get done by the end of the year. And you guys should not laugh at me. This is, like I said, this is a moment of truth for me. But one, I'm just going to read through it. Read one book monthly. Secure a fully remote, higher paying customer service role. Finish UI UX course by mid-year. Learn to illustrate with Figma using a mouse. Release one episode of the podcast monthly. Run ads for the podcast to increase visibility. Pay rent by end of April. I don't even know how that ended up here. Take at least one trip out of the country. MBGN, or as some of you know, Mission Invest Nigeria. Write at least 6 short stories, one every 2 months. Write at least 6 blog posts, could be your short stories. Buy a laptop. Buy a bigger fridge, a tabletop gas, and a bigger cylinder. Fix your relationship with God. And then, to end this list, I put Romans 9 verse 16. Maybe I wanted that to be my watchword. And Romans 9 verse 16 says, so then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. And that's actually a very powerful watchword. So, now that I've read all the things that I penned down quickly, that okay, I need to get these things done by the end of the year. And looking at that list, I cannot even in good conscience say that I covered everything on the list. But what I do know is that I tried to stick to it, and I tried to for every single thing there, I put in effort, and for some of them the effort was cut short, while for some we were able to move forward. So let's take writing for example. Multiple times this year I tried to write. It wasn't coming back to me. It wasn't working. It wasn't flowing. I would have the ideas, but I was struggling to write. And right now I've even picked up an old hobby of mine, reading. And I try not to be hard on myself a lot, because both of them are hobbies that are close to my heart. And I find it to be comforting that right now that I'm struggling to write, I'm learning to pick up reading again. I used to be an avid reader when I was younger. I used to read. In my prime, I could finish all those big small text print books. I could finish one in a day. And little by little, that has been cut out of my life. So now that I'm struggling to write, I'm now picking up reading little by little. But yeah, the point is, it's okay to try at the things you want. It's okay to try plenty times. Even illustration, I've been saying it for years, and I'm even saying it till now that okay, I'm going to still learn how to illustrate, draw animation and cartoons and all that. I tried it last year, I tried it this year, and we're close on that year. I did not finish it, but it's still fine. As long as there's, breath in your lungs, as long as God is faithful and you're still alive, you can always try again. And that is my final lesson. Embrace the next opportunity. There are some things in that list, like I said, that I'm beating myself over that I did not achieve. But again, as long as there is life, there is always next year, there's always a new opportunity to try again. So don't kill yourself. I think it's one of the things I said in the very first episode. Don't kill yourself about the things you could not achieve this year. Please and please. There's always another chance for you to try again. Anyways, those are all the things that I learned this year. I don't know if that's everything, but I tried to put most of them together. I hope that it has inspired some of you, maybe 1 or 2 of you, out of my 5 listeners, in some way. But still, I would love to know what you learned this year. I don't want to tell people that they can reach out to me directly, but if I know you personally, obviously you can reach out to me to share, if you want to share with me like some things that your experiences this year taught you. This episode is almost past the 15 minutes mark. So bye guys. Mwah.